I'm your host, Lauren, and together let's explore what it really means to embrace authenticity in a world that often values conformity. If you've ever felt the pull to challenge the status quo or deepen your connection to self, you're in the right place. My name is Lauren and welcome to Not So Status Quo. Oh my goodness, it feels so incredibly good to be able to say that and to be sitting down recording this first episode today, especially because the concept for this podcast has evolved for over a year now. So I'm really excited to finally be bringing you conversation and dialogue around authentic living and what that means in a world that often values conformity. And let's face it, life can get so busy and full that a lot of us don't even know what we truly desire anymore. I have spent the last 10 months talking about this topic publicly on social media. However, a conversation like this needs to go deeper than a 10-second Instagram reel or a 60-second TikTok video. Today, I thought we'd kick off with a mini get to know me style video, as you and I will be spending a lot more time together over the weeks, months, and hopefully years to come. So for those of you who don't know me, I was born and raised in Brisbane, Australia. I am a very big European mix, but resonate the most with my Maltese heritage. Growing up, I was a very creative kid, but I actually aspired to be a zoologist and specifically work with orangutans in Borneo. During my teens, I was then obsessed with basketball. And when I say obsessed, I mean obsessed, but then I did grow an interest in the mind and human behavior. So as you can probably tell, I had varied interests, which is a theme that has definitely continued throughout my adult life. I went on to study a double degree, with one of the degrees being in psychology, and I did have a goal of becoming an exercise and sports psychologist. However, during my final year at uni, I became a youth worker and I decided I was going to earn some money while reconsidering if I really wanted to actually become a psychologist. And plot twist, I did not. And from that point, I held a variety of management positions all the way up to executive leadership positions over the years that followed that. The bulk of my work life was spent in not-for-profits in the human services and health sectors, walking alongside people experiencing disadvantage, hardship, and marginalization. I did start a couple of side businesses during that time, and they centered around fashion. And if you knew me growing up, this would have come as a complete surprise, as I lived and breathed basketball and was absolutely not fashionable in the slightest. My idea of fashion in my mid-teens was knee-length shorts, a white tank top, a white beaded shell necklace, and a slicked back pony. And when I say slick back, I mean slicked back with clips holding everything in place. There were no bumps, there were no lumps. What I came to realize though in my early 20s was that in addition to supporting people in a therapeutic capacity, I was actually really passionate about being creative, and fashion design was one thing that really appealed to me. So I actually spent a lot of my 20s trying to figure out my next move in between lengthy overseas holidays. You'll quickly come to understand how much value I place on travel and incorporating frequent overseas adventures into my life. So hopefully you enjoy that as much as I do. But by the time I had reached the age of 30, I'd gone through a marriage breakdown, and a lot in my life didn't feel like the life I was meant to be living. To be honest, a lot of my 20s actually felt like this. I was going to a job each day that didn't inspire me, and I remember feeling incredibly frustrated that no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't quite crack the code to being able to wake up feeling so excited about my day. I made a number of hard but life-changing decisions, but in the years that followed, I really came to understand who Lauren was and what she wanted for her life. I now help people, particularly women, do this too, and I freaking love it. We look to identify what is holding them back from moving towards their dream life by looking at their systems, outside influences, and mindset, and then we create a plan on how to get them there. I absolutely love being a transformation mentor and seeing women realize how incredibly powerful they really are. So why not so status quo? Well, sometimes in order to live a life that truly lights us up, we need to step outside of what is expected of us by our family, our friends, society, and sometimes even ourselves. I know what it's like to make hard life choices that go against the timeline that society has in place for a woman of my age. I've also not chosen to pursue only one career path, and I have just turned 34 a couple of weeks ago, and I don't have any biological children of my own yet. And I know I'm not alone. I actually debated whether to keep this as a solo podcast or whether to do only guest interviews, but I realized you will probably get the most out of listening to both. So, in addition to sitting down with you in solo episodes, helping to equip you with useful information and tools, I am really excited to also be sitting down with some incredible guests who have embraced their true selves and are living a life aligned with their values and their passions. But look, it often wasn't always the case for them. To get to this place, our guests have had to also make some really hard choices along the way, and some choices that went against the status quo. So let me be clear, challenging the status quo or stepping into your most authentic self does take courage and often a lot of mindset work. So these are some topics we will be exploring with our guests. I do have a few hopes for this podcast. The first being to inspire you to live a life that aligns with your true self, as this really is the best route to happiness, abundance, and fulfillment. Trust me. Secondly, to help you identify who you truly are, what you truly want from life, what external influences might be shaping your life decisions, how to live your dream life, and basically everything in between. We'll also be talking about mindset and confidence, which are often highly requested topics for discussion. Thank you for sitting down with me during this mini get to know me. I look forward to sharing real life stories, both mine and those of others, to show you we're all on this journey together, trying to live our best, most happy and fulfilled lives. Coming up after this is a full episode discussing authentic living and why this is the ultimate life move. And next week, I am excited to bring you a conversation with our first incredible guest. You do not want to miss this. With that said, a reminder to join me on Spotify, Apple Music, or YouTube every Monday when new episodes drop. In the meantime, connect with me on Instagram at NotSoStatusQuo, where I will be asking for your input into topics that you want us to chat about in future episodes. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next episode of Not So Status Quo.